want to be a sports broadcaster. I want to be the host at ESPN. I want to be an anchor. To do this, now after I realized that, okay, this is my dream job now, since I can't play baseball, I needed to find a college that had the actual broadcast journalism. That didn't exactly work out here. I chose Rockhurst because my dad went here, Ben went here, and now my younger brother Caleb goes here. To be in the family, it's a great school to have, especially love the fact that it was in Kansas City. It was really a home away from home. Because they didn't have a broadcast journalism program, I knew that I was going to have to do something else, and that was get an internship. And this is where this guy comes in. This is Jay Binkley. Jay Binkley is not my idol, but he is someone I really look up to for what he's done over the years. Just going over a basic history of Jay, he went to Pitt State, where he didn't play any sports, but he started getting into the broadcasting. He started broadcasting college games, and then he also broadcasted some high school games. So throughout his time, he'd been working various jobs, and he and his friends just sat down and was like, you know what? 610 Sports, I don't like what they're talking about. 810 Sports, they don't know what they're talking about. You know what? Let's start our own radio show. And that's what they did. They started an internet radio show called Three Guys in a Garage that was actually in his garage. He had no heat, no air conditioning, so it was hot whenever he was doing the shows. Once they started going, they actually got a fairly big fan base, and a lot of people listened. So he sent a demo tape actually to 810 Sports, and from that, he was actually got onto their other network, 1510, ESPN 1510. And once this came on, they usually did a lot of weekend shows, late night weekend shows, and it blew up. They were able to switch on over to Sports Radio 810, and they mostly did nighttime shows during the week. Jay was fortunate enough to where he became so popular, he was asked to join the big show on 610 Sports. This show is from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and the most listened to sports radio show in Kansas City and the Metropolitan. While he was over at 810 Sports, I had the ability to go and do an internship with him. While I was here, it was one of the best experiences of my life, especially with trying to get into this business. Because everyone knows it's not really about what you know, it's about who you know. So this got my foot into the door. I learned how to do interviews, I learned how to cut sound bites, and then really I just learned how to connect with people. And through this, I got to interview Bobby Bowden, who was the head coach for Florida State Seminoles. I got to interview Bill Self, which was a very cool experience. So throughout his time doing radio shows, he has done a lot for himself. He now has a post-game show doing the Chiefs for 4 hours. Every Sunday he's on 610 right after the game. He's actually, before he would be able to get to go to the games, now he watches it from the office or from the broadcasting and is able to broadcast on and gets callers and all. He also talks about the Royals a lot. He's very passionate about baseball, and he gets to go to many interviews. This particular interview was with Dayton Moore. He also is very passionate about college football. It doesn't matter which team it is. He loves the fact that Kansas City is in the middle of the Midwest, where you have KU, K-State, and MU. This is very huge, especially for Big 12, because he's actually been to every single stadium in the Big 12. And now with MU going to the SEC, he's very excited for that. Lastly, he loves doing high school games. He loves doing this because it's not about the people, the cameras and, the interviews. And, it's not about getting to the next level. This is about kids, who just go enjoy playing Friday Night Lights. Moving on from Jay Binkley, who I've learned the most from, we're going to move on to my idol, and that is Bob Costas. Bob is my idol for many reasons. He was born on March 22nd, 1952, and he actually went to Syracuse where he studied communication until he actually dropped out. This is kind of surprising to me because how successful he is and how much sports that he's done, and he's a college dropout. I actually learned that he went back later and got uh, an honorary degree from Syracuse. Yeah, Syracuse. And he started off his broadcasting career actually for those St. Louis people in the late 1970s, where he began with KMOX radio with broadcasting play-by-play with the St. Louis Spirit. From here, he was discovered by NBC, and they immediately signed him to a deal to broadcast. He has one thing that's very interesting about him is he's only about 5'6", and this is very important because a lot of broadcasters and a lot of announcers were former athletes. He hadn't ever played a sport. All he wanted to do was become the best broadcaster, best announcer to ever be. And with doing that, I think he honestly is. He's been able to do Major League Baseball. He does Sunday Night Baseball play-by-play. He does Major League Basketball. He's done various playoff games. He's done NFL, National Football League. He does the pregame show for Sunday Night Football. He also does the halftime show. He does hockey. He does National Hockey League, where he hosted the NHL Live on NBC, their sports network, along with the NHL Winter Classic. And then lastly, he gets to do the Olympics. This is absolutely huge for me because this one time every 4 years, everyone in the nation turns on Channel 41 and sees this guy. That is the most coolest thing I think that he's able to communicate something he loves with the entire nation. Not only does he do sports, but he actually does controversial interviews. Not controversial interviews, interviews with controversial people. He did an interview with Jerry Sandusky, and he also did an interview with Mark McGwire. Throughout this, he also had 19 Emmy Awards. So here's a picture of what he looks like now, and there's a picture of what he looked like about, I think it was 25 years ago. He's actually 60 years old, I think, and it doesn't even look like he's aged. This also helps him a little bit. So basically summing up what I've said, I've told you about the journey that led me to my career path, Jay Beasley, who helped me along the way, and then my idol in the business, who I inspired to be like Bob Costas. So, with a memorable thought, my brothers and I always said that it'd be really cool if we all made it to the Major League and were able to play against each other in one game. In my book, I don't even need to be on the field. I know Ben Gilbert good enough. I could be up broadcasting the game, and I'd have no problem with that. Thank you.